Ibrahim Traoré's journey to viral fame is one that many dream of, but few ever experience. His story is more than just a tale of an individual's rise to fame. It's a testament to the power of social media, creativity, and resilience. In the beginning, Ibrahim was just like many of us, navigating through life, juggling work, and finding his path. But everything changed the moment his content hit the right note. It wasn't a fluke, it wasn't a random act of luck. Ibrahim tapped into something that resonated with millions, whether it was humor, inspiration, or the raw authenticity of his message. The key was that it was real. People were able to connect with him in a way that made him feel like one of their own. His viral moment opened doors he had never even imagined. Opportunities to collaborate with other creators, brands, and even thought leaders flooded in. What many don't realize is that viral content doesn't just change your following, it can change the way you see yourself, your potential, and your future. For Ibrahim, it was a turning point in how he viewed his own creativity. Suddenly, he wasn't just creating for a small audience, he was creating for the world. But with this fame came pressure, the constant need to outdo himself, to stay relevant, to keep producing content that would maintain his position at the top. It's easy to assume that going viral is all about fame and fortune, but the reality is far more nuanced. Ibrahim had to learn how to balance the demands of his newfound success with his personal life and mental well-being. His story is a reminder that with great power comes great responsibility. The journey from viral success to sustainability is one of growth, learning, and adaptation. What makes Ibrahim's story truly inspiring is that he didn't let the fame change who he was. Despite the spotlight, he remained grounded. His authenticity and willingness to stay true to his values resonated even more with his growing audience. He became more than just a viral sensation. He became a role model for others who dreamed of following in his footsteps. In the end, Ibrahim Traoré's viral content didn't just change his life, it transformed his perspective. He realized that virality is not just a momentary high, it's an opportunity to impact, to influence, and to create something lasting. It's not about chasing the next viral moment, but about building something meaningful, sustainable, and true to oneself. His story teaches us that success is not just about how many people watch or engage with your content, it's about the authenticity behind what you create, the connections you build, and the difference you can make. Just as Ibrahim used his viral success to elevate his life, we can use our own passions, talents, and platforms to create something that not only transforms us, but also inspires others along the way. Ibrahim Traoré's journey to viral fame serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of authenticity in a world increasingly dominated by superficiality. His rise wasn't a product of luck or an algorithmic fluke, but a reflection of something much deeper: his authenticity. In an age where so much of social media is filled with perfectly curated images, edited moments, and carefully constructed personas, Ibrahim's raw and genuine content stood out in a way that connected with millions on a profound level. His authenticity didn't just help him gain followers, it made him relatable, trustworthy, and memorable to a global audience. When Ibrahim first started creating content, he didn't set out to go viral or become famous. Instead, he simply shared what was important to him, whether that was his thoughts, experiences, or just moments from his everyday life. What he didn't realize at the time was that this very approach, the decision to be himself and to create without pretensions, was exactly what would eventually propel him to success. In a sea of influencers who appeared to be chasing fame or striving to fit a certain mold, Ibrahim's unfiltered nature broke through the noise. His audience saw someone they could connect with, someone who didn't seem out of reach or artificially polished. In essence, his content felt real, like it had been made by someone just like them, facing the same challenges, struggles, and joys of life. This rawness in Ibrahim's work became his biggest asset. Authenticity allowed his content to speak to people on an emotional level, creating a bond that felt less like a digital transaction and more like a personal connection. People weren't just following him, they were engaging with him, forming a relationship. This level of relatability is something that can't be faked. No amount of editing or flashy filters can replicate the warmth, vulnerability, and honesty that Ibrahim's content conveyed. And because of this, his audience wasn't just passive viewers, they were active participants in his journey. They cheered for his successes, supported him during setbacks, and offered their own experiences in return. That's the power of authenticity. It doesn't just help you stand out in a crowded space, it fosters a sense of community where both creator and audience feel like they're part of something meaningful. The more Ibrahim leaned into his authentic self, the more his content resonated. His ability to open up, be vulnerable, and share parts of himself that others might shy away from became the foundation of his success. It wasn't about creating a perfect image or trying to fit into a specific trend. It was about being honest, even when it wasn't easy. This honesty, especially in today's social media climate, is rare and refreshing. People appreciated seeing a person who wasn't afraid to share the highs and lows of their life, because it reminded them that no one is alone in their struggles. Ibrahim's audience didn't just see him as a celebrity or influencer, they saw him as someone they could relate to. This type of connection is something that is hard to replicate, and it's exactly why authenticity can be so powerful. In a world where so many are trying to keep up with trends or present a certain image, being genuine and true to yourself has a way of cutting through the noise. People crave connection, and authenticity provides that in a way that surface-level content never can. Ibrahim's rise to fame proved that when you stay true to yourself and your values, the impact you can have is far more lasting than any viral moment or fleeting trend. What makes Ibrahim's story even more compelling is that his viral success didn't just amplify his personal brand. It also gave him a platform to share his message, inspire others, and spark meaningful conversations. The trust he built with his audience because of his authenticity became the foundation for everything that followed. His rise wasn't just about gaining followers, it was about creating a movement that encouraged others to be real, be themselves, and embrace the power of vulnerability. Ultimately, Ibrahim's journey teaches us that in a world obsessed with perfection, the greatest strength lies in being true to who you are. Authenticity isn't just a buzzword, it's a powerful tool that, when wielded properly, can change your life and the lives of others. His success is a reminder that if you show up as yourself, unapologetically and with sincerity, people will notice. And that's when the magic happens. When Ibrahim Traoré's content went viral, it marked the beginning of a whole new chapter in his life, one that would be filled with unprecedented opportunities and exposure. The moment his videos, posts, or messages were shared widely, he found himself thrust into a realm where his audience was no longer just a niche group of followers. What began as a small personal project soon turned into a global platform with endless potential. Going viral opened doors for him in ways that few could have predicted, and the magnitude of exposure he gained was nothing short of transformative. Before his viral moment, Ibrahim's content was something he shared mainly for fun, with a select group of followers who appreciated his unique voice. It was a personal endeavor, a way to express himself. But once the viral wave took over, everything changed. His content, which had once reached only a few hundred people, now had the power to spread across continents in a matter of hours. What was once a hobby, shared with friends and like-minded individuals, was now being seen by millions. This rapid growth and exposure was more than just a statistic. It signified the start of a new era in his career. As his videos gained traction, his visibility surged. Ibrahim was suddenly on the radar of people he had never imagined reaching: creators, influencers, brands, and even industry leaders. One of the most immediate changes that came with his newfound fame was the floodgate of opportunities. Brands, eager to tap into the massive audience Ibrahim had acquired, reached out for partnerships and collaborations. These weren't just local brands, either. International companies saw the potential in his voice and wanted to align themselves with his authenticity. The ability to work with top-tier brands wasn't something Ibrahim had planned for, yet these opportunities presented themselves as a natural progression. It wasn't just about the money or exposure for Ibrahim, it was about aligning with brands that resonated with his values and identity. For many creators, this can be a turning point, as it provides them with the chance to grow beyond their initial platforms and create a sustainable career. Ibrahim capitalized on these opportunities, choosing to collaborate with brands that complemented his personal brand, further solidifying his place in the influencer and content creation world. But the exposure didn't stop with just brands. As his popularity soared, collaborations with other creators and influencers soon followed. In the online world, collaborations are key to expanding reach and tapping into new audiences. Ibrahim quickly found himself collaborating with other viral creators, many of whom had significant followings in different regions of the world. These collaborations allowed him to leverage their established audiences, creating a cross-pollination effect that grew his reach even more. It was a win-win. The other creators gained access to Ibrahim's growing following, while Ibrahim's audience got to experience new content and creators they hadn't discovered before. Beyond collaborations, the global exposure he received helped Ibrahim build relationships with influencers and industry figures from all over the world. What started as an organic, genuine way to share content now placed him in a network of people who could help him grow even further. He was no longer just an isolated figure on a platform. He became part of a global ecosystem of creators, each supporting and uplifting the other. This kind of exposure can open doors to even bigger ventures, such as speaking engagements, media appearances, and even product launches. However, it's important to note that the exposure wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. With greater reach came more scrutiny. The more eyes there are on a person, the more opinions and criticism they receive. While many were drawn to Ibrahim's authenticity and creative content, others were quick to judge or criticize him. The experience of gaining global exposure taught him an important lesson. With fame comes both admiration and opposition. This balance was something Ibrahim had to navigate carefully, learning how to filter out the noise and focus on what truly mattered, continuing to create content that was true to himself while engaging positively with his audience. Ultimately, the exposure Ibrahim gained through going viral was not just about the numbers or the immediate financial benefits. It was about the long-term impact and the ability to influence and inspire people on a global scale. He wasn't just a local creator anymore, he had an international following. His voice, his message, and his content had reached far beyond what he ever thought possible. The opportunities and exposure that came with his viral success allowed him to transition from a small-time content creator to a recognized figure with the ability to shape trends, influence opinions, and collaborate with some of the biggest names in the industry. Looking back, Ibrahim's viral success didn't just open up doors. It transformed the way he saw himself and his potential. It showed him that exposure isn't just about fame. It's about the ability to connect with people from different walks of life, to create content that resonates, and to use that platform to do something bigger than just gaining likes or followers. The opportunities and exposure he received allowed him to grow not only as a creator but as a person, pushing him toward new challenges and accomplishments he had never envisioned. The sudden surge of viral fame brought Ibrahim Traoré much more than just recognition and opportunities. It also introduced a pressure that he had never anticipated. Going viral is often seen as the pinnacle of success for many content creators, but what many fail to realize is that it also brings with it a unique set of challenges. The initial rush of attention, adoration, and excitement can be overwhelming, but it's the weight of consistency that can truly test a creator's resilience. For Ibrahim, the pressure to maintain relevance and continuously outdo himself became an ongoing challenge that he had to learn to navigate carefully. At first, it felt exhilarating. Ibrahim's content was resonating with millions, and he was at the height of his popularity. His videos, posts, and messages were going viral almost daily, and the recognition was instant. The attention felt like a validation of his work, and for a time, it seemed as though success would only continue to grow. But as time went on, Ibrahim began to realize that viral fame has a very real flip side. The expectations of both his audience and the brands that were now eager to collaborate with him. People were no longer just following his content, they were eagerly waiting for the next viral moment, the next big idea, the next piece of content that would elevate him even further. The challenge now wasn't just creating content that felt good to him, it was about staying relevant in a space that moved incredibly fast. One of the most difficult aspects of maintaining viral fame is the unspoken expectation that every new piece of content should be bigger, better, or more engaging than the last. Ibrahim found himself caught in a cycle where his past successes started to loom over him. His earlier content was genuine, unplanned, and had an authenticity that made it resonate deeply with his audience. However, as his following grew and his influence expanded, the pressure to constantly top his previous work began to feel suffocating. He was no longer just creating for fun, now he was expected to create for mass consumption. His content needed to be more polished, more strategic, and more aligned with what people were expecting from him. This shift in expectations wasn't something he had prepared for, and it forced him to confront a new kind of challenge. This ongoing pressure of consistency eventually led Ibrahim to realize something important. He could not continue to chase virality at the cost of his creativity or well-being. The relentless pursuit of outdoing himself with each post was draining, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to keep up with the pace. Rather than feeling inspired and motivated by his success, he started to feel overwhelmed and disconnected from his own creative process. His content was no longer something that brought him joy. It had become a job, a performance, and a race to stay ahead of the curve. This was a pivotal moment in his journey, as he had to decide whether to continue down this path of constant production or find a way to manage the pressure and balance his success with his personal life and mental health. Through this experience, Ibrahim learned an invaluable lesson. Managing expectations is as important as managing creativity. He had to come to terms with the fact that it was impossible to please everyone, and that his worth as a creator wasn't tied solely to how viral his content went. In fact, one of the most crucial aspects of his growth was understanding that it was okay not to always be at the top of his game. The pressure to maintain momentum was real, but it didn't have to define him. Ibrahim realized that part of the journey was about taking breaks, recharging, and finding ways to remain true to himself without succumbing to the unrealistic expectations placed on him by the public and even himself. The lesson Ibrahim learned was one that many creators face but rarely talk about openly. Fame and success often come with a steep price. The weight of consistency can feel like a heavy burden, but it's possible to find balance. Ibrahim made a conscious decision to prioritize his mental health and well-being. He began to be more selective with the type of content he created and focused on quality over quantity. He stopped chasing virality and instead focused on creating content that felt meaningful, even if it didn't garner millions of views. By doing so, he rediscovered his passion for content creation and found that staying true to his values was the key to maintaining his relevance in the long run. The pressure of consistency taught Ibrahim to embrace imperfection and understand that success is not defined by a single viral moment, but by the journey as a whole. He realized that by managing the expectations of his audience and finding balance in his personal and professional life, he could continue to thrive in a sustainable way. Ultimately, the lesson for Ibrahim, and for anyone in the public eye, is that the pursuit of consistency doesn't mean chasing endless success. Instead, it means learning to manage the highs and lows, and always staying grounded in the face of fame. Ibrahim Traoré's viral success marked the beginning of a transformative journey, not just in terms of the number of followers or collaborations he gained, but in how he evolved as a creator. Going viral often feels like a dream come true for many content creators, but it's important to recognize that this moment of fame isn't the end. It's only the beginning. For Ibrahim, the viral wave wasn't just about numbers or instant recognition. It was about growth. The challenges that came with his newfound fame and the hurdles he faced along the way became the driving forces behind his evolution as a creator. His ability to embrace these challenges and use them as opportunities for growth demonstrated that resilience and adaptability are essential to sustaining long-term success. The initial surge of viral attention can be overwhelming. Suddenly, everyone is watching, judging, and critiquing your every move. For many creators, this shift can lead to self-doubt or burnout, but Ibrahim saw it differently. He recognized that with viral fame came the chance to grow in ways that would have been impossible without the exposure. Initially, the pressure to maintain the same level of creativity and virality was overwhelming, but Ibrahim didn't allow it to crush his spirit. Instead, he used every challenge as an opportunity to refine his craft, broaden his perspective, and better understand what resonated with his audience. One of the first challenges Ibrahim faced after going viral was the expectation to replicate his earlier success. His initial content, which was raw, spontaneous, and authentic, had struck a chord with millions. But as his audience grew, so did the pressure to continuously produce content that lived up to or exceeded the original viral moment. This pressure could have led to burnout, but Ibrahim recognized that growth didn't mean simply repeating the same formula. Instead, it meant evolving, experimenting with new ideas, exploring different formats, and pushing the boundaries of his creativity. He realized that the key to sustaining success wasn't about chasing the same viral hits, but about being willing to adapt and evolve with the changing landscape of content creation. Adapting to the changing nature of online platforms was another area where Ibrahim demonstrated resilience. The social media landscape is constantly evolving with new trends, features, and expectations emerging almost overnight. As someone who was now under the spotlight, Ibrahim could have easily succumbed to the temptation of following every trend in an effort to stay relevant. However, he stayed true to his values, choosing to remain authentic while also adapting his content to align with new tools and features. This adaptability helped him stay fresh and engaged with his audience without sacrificing the very essence of what made his content special. Ibrahim learned that resilience doesn't just mean bouncing back from failure. It also involves being flexible enough to grow and change in response to external shifts. Throughout his journey, Ibrahim also learned that growth through resilience isn't always linear. There were setbacks, times when a post didn't perform as expected, or when a project he had worked hard on didn't resonate with his audience. But instead of allowing these moments of failure to discourage him, he used them as learning opportunities. Each misstep provided valuable insights that helped him improve. Whether it was adjusting his approach to storytelling, refining his production quality, or better understanding the evolving needs of his followers, Ibrahim's resilience was rooted in his willingness to learn from mistakes and continue moving forward. Another crucial aspect of Ibrahim's growth was his ability to balance his newfound fame with his personal life. The line between personal and public life often blurs when you go viral, and maintaining that balance is key to long-term well-being. Ibrahim was faced with the challenge of managing his growing public persona while also staying connected to his authentic self. This was a difficult but necessary adjustment. He realized that in order to sustain his success, he had to remain grounded, recognizing his limits and taking time for self-care when needed. Resilience didn't mean working non-stop or ignoring personal boundaries. It meant knowing when to step back, recharge, and come back stronger. Ibrahim's story illustrates the importance of resilience and adaptability in the face of both success and failure. Going viral wasn't just about reaching new heights in popularity. It was about navigating the challenges that come with fame and using them to evolve into a more thoughtful, strategic, and creative creator. His ability to stay resilient through setbacks and adapt to the changing landscape of content creation is what allowed him to sustain his success over time. His journey shows that the path to success is not always straightforward, and the most successful creators are those who embrace growth, evolve through their challenges, and remain true to their authentic selves. Resilience isn't about bouncing back from failure, it's about using those failures as fuel for growth. Ibrahim's ability to do this has not only helped him maintain his relevance, but has also set him up for continued success in the future. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance and adaptability in achieving long-term success. In the whirlwind world of viral fame, it's easy for someone to become swept up in the chaos of public attention, social media accolades, and growing influence. Yet despite the overwhelming fame and exposure that Ibrahim Traoré received after his viral success, he managed to remain grounded throughout it all. The pressure to change, to conform to the expectations of others, or to pursue fame for the sake of fame can be intense, but Ibrahim's ability to stay true to himself allowed him to maintain his authenticity and connection with his audience. Staying grounded amidst fame was one of the defining characteristics of his journey, and it proved to be a vital part of the longevity of his success. When Ibrahim first experienced viral fame, he was thrust into a world where people expected him to act, create, and even live in a certain way. He suddenly found himself surrounded by brand deals, sponsorships, and a rapidly growing following that looked up to him for inspiration. It would have been easy to get carried away with the accolades, to chase after the next viral hit, or to mold his persona to fit what others wanted him to be. However, Ibrahim made a conscious decision to stay true to his values, even as his popularity soared. He didn't let the attention or the success change who he was at his core. His content remained authentic, and his message stayed consistent with what he believed in. This grounded approach was not just a matter of personal integrity, it played a significant role in deepening his connection with his audience. People who followed Ibrahim from the very beginning didn't connect with him because of his fame, they connected with him because of the authenticity that he projected in his content. They saw him as someone who shared real thoughts, real experiences, and who wasn't afraid to show vulnerability. Staying grounded meant that Ibrahim remained approachable, relatable, and true to the person his followers had initially come to know and appreciate. Even as his platform grew, he continued to share aspects of his personal life that were both inspiring and humbling. This realness created a bond of trust between him and his followers, something that's often missing in the polished, curated world of influencers and celebrities. Moreover, his ability to remain humble helped him avoid the pitfalls of fame that can often cause people to lose their sense of self. Many creators who experience rapid success often struggle with the shift in how they're perceived by the public, sometimes adopting personas that are not aligned with their true selves. This can lead to a disconnect with their original audience, who may feel like the person they once admired is no longer the same. Ibrahim, however, resisted the temptation to let fame alter his personality or values. His followers could still see the same Ibrahim, the one who had shared content for fun, who had made mistakes, and who had been transparent in his journey. This authenticity didn't just win him followers, it earned him their loyalty. His audience trusted him because they could see that he wasn't chasing fame for the sake of it. He was simply using his platform to share his story, his growth, and his experiences with others. Another aspect of staying grounded for Ibrahim was his ability to recognize the importance of humility. Despite his growing fame, he never acted like he was above others. He continued to engage with his audience in a way that made people feel valued. Whether it was responding to comments, sharing behind-the-scenes moments, or just taking the time to show appreciation for the support he received, Ibrahim remained accessible. This down-to-earth approach made him relatable, even as he grew in influence. It also helped maintain the organic connection he had built from the very beginning. His followers didn't just see him as a figure to admire, they saw him as someone they could have a conversation with, someone who respected them and appreciated their support. As Ibrahim's fame grew, the pressure to conform to certain expectations also grew. There were people who wanted him to take certain paths, to align with specific brands, or to deliver content that fit a particular mold. However, Ibrahim stayed true to his values. He made decisions based on what felt right for him, not based on what others thought he should do. This focus on staying authentic rather than chasing external validation allowed him to retain his identity throughout the entire process. He wasn't willing to compromise on who he was or what he believed in for the sake of popularity. By staying grounded amidst fame, Ibrahim built a foundation of trust and loyalty that became the bedrock of his success. The deeper connection he had with his audience wasn't based on fleeting moments of viral attention, but on a consistent relationship rooted in authenticity. His followers knew that when they saw Ibrahim's content, they were seeing the real him, not an exaggerated or manufactured version for the sake of fame. In a world where many are quick to adapt to the pressures of social media fame, Ibrahim's ability to remain true to his values has made him stand out as a role model for others. In the end, Ibrahim's story demonstrates that staying grounded isn't just important for personal integrity, it's also crucial for long-term success. The true strength of his platform wasn't in the number of followers he had or the viral moments he created, but in the trust and connection he built with people who believed in him. His fame didn't change him. It simply amplified the authenticity and values that had always been at his core. Ibrahim Traoré's viral success undeniably brought him immense popularity and recognition in the short term, but as the fame continued to grow, so did his perspective on what true success really meant. At the height of his viral moment, it would have been easy to focus solely on the immediate rewards, more followers, brand deals, and the rush of attention that came with being an online sensation. However, Ibrahim's journey took a deeper turn when he realized that viral moments, while exhilarating, were fleeting. The attention that followed was not something he could control, and the viral algorithm that powered his success could change just as quickly as it had elevated him. This realization sparked a profound shift in his mindset. Ibrahim began to focus less on the temporary highs of virality and more on building a lasting legacy, something that would have a deeper and more enduring impact on the lives of others. In the early stages of his rise to fame, Ibrahim had the typical experience of viral success. His videos were widely shared, his audience grew exponentially, and he received countless messages of praise and admiration. It was a heady feeling, one that many creators would have gladly ridden for as long as possible. Yet Ibrahim recognized that fame, built on fleeting viral moments, could easily disappear as quickly as it had arrived. As he reflected on the nature of fame and success, he came to an important conclusion. True success is not just about gaining followers or capturing attention in the moment. It is about creating something that endures, something that transcends the cycle of viral trends and continues to inspire and impact others for years to come. This shift in perspective led Ibrahim to focus on building something more meaningful, a legacy. He began to realize that viral success was just one chapter in a much larger story, and he had the power to steer that narrative towards something that would be remembered long after the viral highs had faded. For Ibrahim, creating a lasting legacy wasn't about the number of views or likes he could accumulate, but about the value he could offer to his audience in a way that would have a deeper long-term impact. He sought to leave behind something that would continue to resonate with people, something that could inspire them even in his absence. In the quest to build a lasting legacy, Ibrahim turned his focus toward purpose-driven content. While his early success was based on creating viral, often spontaneous content, he realized that he could use his platform for something more than just entertainment or attention. He began sharing stories that not only entertained his audience, but also taught valuable life lessons. Lessons about resilience, overcoming obstacles, staying true to oneself, and finding purpose in the midst of chaos. Ibrahim recognized that as a creator, he had the unique opportunity to shape narratives, to provide perspectives, and to offer advice that could help people grow and develop. This approach allowed him to not only entertain, but also to empower others. Moreover, Ibrahim's mindset shift also led him to explore new ways to engage with his audience that went beyond the digital realm. He realized that to truly leave a lasting impact, his influence had to extend beyond screens and social media platforms. He began seeking opportunities to engage in real-world initiatives, whether through partnerships with charities, mentoring up-and-coming creators, or engaging in community-building projects. These actions were part of his vision for building a legacy that would be felt not just through his content, but also through his actions in the real world. By using his platform for greater good, Ibrahim aimed to make a difference that went far beyond his immediate fame. In this pursuit of lasting impact, Ibrahim also focused on creating timeless content, the kind that wasn't tied to a fleeting trend or moment, but spoke to universal truths and experiences. He began crafting content that was reflective, introspective, and designed to stand the test of time. Rather than chasing virality, Ibrahim focused on creating things that would inspire and resonate with audiences for years to come, irrespective of the changing tides of social media culture. His storytelling became less about fitting into trends and more about communicating his core values and personal experiences in a way that would remain relevant even as the digital landscape evolved. This shift from short-term success to long-term impact also forced Ibrahim to confront the importance of sustainability in his creative journey. Building a lasting legacy wasn't just about what he created, it was about creating something that could sustain its relevance and value over time. Ibrahim recognized that his success would ultimately be measured not by how many viral moments he could accumulate, but by the depth of his impact and the quality of his contributions to the lives of his followers. He began thinking more strategically, focusing on projects and collaborations that aligned with his long-term goals, ensuring that his influence would continue to grow in a positive, meaningful way. Through this process of reflection and action, Ibrahim's viral success became the catalyst for something much more profound, the pursuit of a legacy that would endure far beyond the digital world. He understood that true success isn't just measured in likes and shares, but in the lives you touch, the positive changes you inspire, and the way you can continue to influence the world long after the spotlight fades. By focusing on creating meaningful content, engaging in purposeful actions, and building authentic relationships with his audience, Ibrahim set out to build a legacy that would last far longer than any viral moment ever could. His story serves as a powerful reminder that real success is about making a difference, not just in the moment, but for years to come.